Well, here we are with Mr. Dink Fair. It's
sit over there.
I consider you one of the living legends, Mr. Fair. It's a pleasure having you. It's an honor being here with you, sir.
Thank you, Victor.
I want to thank Bush for actually doing this, getting us together. I know Bush is a great friend of mine and a great friend of yours too. How did you get started?
How did I get started?
Yes, sir. Chicken thing.
Well, I was a young boy about, I guess, 10, 12 years old. And I was going down an alley in Indiana, living with my grandmother. And I heard two chickens fighting. And I heard some noise, and I looked over there in the yard, and the two guys were spoiling chickens.
Dice que estaba en Indiana, estaba chiquito. How old were you?
About 10.
De 10 años y que escuchó unos gallos topar ahí por su casa y fue y estaban dos personas topando los pollos, los gallos.
And they let me come in and watch, and they explained to me what they were. From that day, I was hooked on chickens. I started looking for other people who raised them, and I met a doctor named Dr. Ladern, and he paid me $1 a day to come after school.
Oh, God.
That was a lot of money back then, wasn't bad. To feed and water about 300 chickens.
How old were you?
About 10 or 11.
Dice que conoció un doctor que... What was his name?
Dr. Ladern.
Ladern, y que le pagaba $1 por día para darle de comer a los gallos y dar agua. And you guys started fighting together.
Well, he started teaching me about chickens. He started teaching me how to train them. And he had shufflers and blues and Hoosier roundheads. And he would take me to the fights with him,
Okay.
and teaching me how to handle.
Que él le enseñaba cómo cuidar y cómo disfrutar.
And that's how I got started. From that time on, I was hooked for chickens.
Que desde ahí se empicó con los pollos, con los gallos y desde ahí siguió. What lines do you have right now currently? You have. Le voy a preguntar qué líneas tiene ahorita.
The lines we've bred for many years has been sweater chickens, the Kelso chickens, and the Blake Gray chickens, and the topic chickens.
Que tiene sweaters, kelsos, los Blake Giros y los topis.
And we got a yellow leg family.
Y una línea de yellow leg. I wanna make a disclaimer first before we all the roosters here we talk about and that Mr. Dink raises are for breeding and show purposes only. We don't encourage cockfighting. It's illegal here in the States. Anything that gets out of here, he sells it as brood stock or show chickens. Todo lo que se vende aquí es para show y para sementales. No apoyamos las peleas de gallos, son para puro sementales y para show. Sorry about that. Your Kelsos, they come from Jumper, right?
Yes, a long time ago.
Can you tell the story?
Yes, I can tell the story. We had me and Jumper. I was visiting. Me and Jumper were good friends, and I went to see him, and he had some Kelso chickens out there, and he only had 5 brothers left, and he said they all died. And he only had 5 of them left out of 100, and he thought they were the best Kelso chickens in the world.
Dice que fue con Jumper que tenía 5 gallos Kelsos que tenía 100 pero que todos morían. They just died from disease or just died or?
Well, they died from disease.
Que le quedaron 5 pollos nomás y que you were saying that he only 5 y dijo Jumper que eran los mejores gallos que había tenido en su vida, los Kelsos.
And he said, Dink, won't you take those 5 brothers and get them ready for a big show at Kellyville? And I said, I will. And so I took them home, and the first time I sparred them, they looked very average, not very good. The next time I sparred them, they looked better. And then about the 4th or 5th time I sparred them, they looked super. It didn't matter if it was hot weather, cold weather, they had a crawl full of food, water, whatever. They were super.
Dice que Jumper se lo dio para que los cuidara, para jugarlos en Kelly, pero era un palenque muy duro aquí en los Estados Unidos, que los empezó a topar y que le empezaron a gustar y que topaban bien Okay, we're back. Entonces, tomaban bien los gallos en frío, calor, lloviendo, no lloviendo, con comidas. So you said they spar every time they spar good, right?
Yeah, super. They got super. The first 2 times they were no good. After that, they got super. I finally called Jumper and I said, Mr. Jumper, these roosters are really, really good. I'd like to breed them. I want to buy all 5 of them. He said, oh, you can have them.
Oh, wow.
He said, bring me back something out of them. I said, okay, I will.
Que Jumper le dijo, ¿sabes qué? Pues, mejor no los quiero jugar, mejor véndemelos, dijo a Jumper. Te los voy a regalar más tarde después para atrás. So he gave some hands. What'd you breed them to?
I bred them to some Kelso blood that I had, and that had some of Jumper's blood in it too. And then they were 3 lemons and 1 dark one. We called Brownie, the dark one, because he was darker color, like you seen that brownie out there. But the other 3 were lemons. 1 was straight cone.
Thank you. And so I bred them, and then for years I took Jumper back. Probably the best thing, well-known ones is I took him 2 roost stags back the first year and 4 sisters. 2 were yellow-legged, 2 were white-legged.
So then brownies, I mean, everybody says the brownies.
But just a color.
But it's not a different line you have?
No.
So you don't have a line that's called brownies?
We have a line called Brownie, but it's more of a color than a line.
Okay.
The brownies are darker colored than the lemon ones. But
They call the same amount.
Same
the last
thing.
thing people sell brownies for, say, oh, they're brownies, you know, they're Dink's brownies, they cost more money, you know, they're the same price.
No, all the same price or all the same thing. And anyway, I took him back in them 4 hens. They were 2 yellow-legged, 2 white-legged. They were marked double left.
They come both white-legged and yellow-legged?
Mm-hmm. And he bred, and even you get a blue leg when we first started breeding them.
Dicen que,
Blue-legged pullets.
que de esas cresas originales que le salían pata amarilla, pata blanca y pata azul también. Que él se lo regresó a Jumper. So he came back 1 stag and 2 hens?
Yeah, I give him 2 stags and 4 hens back the first year, and I asked him why some come blue-legged. He said he didn't know. He did not put the blue-leg blood in there.
Se le preguntó por qué salían patas azules que no sabía, dijo Jumper.
And so they don't come that way no more. I don't hardly get a blue leg in him no more. But anyway, he took that Robbie White cock, which was supposed to have been 3/4 Cecil Davis Kelso and 1/4. They said it hatch blood, but it looked like ACL. And they bred him to them 4 hens, and that's what Jumper made those $20,000 Kelsos out of.
Also, so he
They're made from those 4 hens. I know for sure. I was there.
right.
And they bred to that little Robbie White rooster. He didn't have no toes or no beak, and he was about little short-legged and looked like he was about half.
What was he hatch?
He's supposed to have been 3/4 Cecil Davis Kelso
Quarter ratio.
and 1/4 ACL, or 1/4 hatch, what they said. But he did throw green legs, so they could have been 1/4 hatch. But he had the body and the looks of an Oriental
Que
chick.
los gallos de 20,000 que llaman los 20,000 de Jumper eran
Kelso.
ese gallo que le regresó este Dink, cruzado con un gallo 3/4 Cecil Davis Kelso con 1/4 de así. So I mean, there's really nothing pure. I mean, in the chicken business, right? I mean,
Well, they're pure
I mean-
if you set the genes and you breed to a gene
yeah. I mean, you
pool
set to a
for
G pool,
yourself.
and you get a standard G pool,
Yeah,
right?
you start breeding them uniform, and they're closely related cousins 2 or 3 times, and line bred 3 or 4 times. Then you set the gene pool where the genes reproduce what they're almost the original stock that you're trying to do
Right.
is. Then you've made a gene pool, and that's what then you can consider them pure.
Le digo que casi no hay gallos puros realmente, pero dice sí, pero que cuando hagas una familia y la crías ya cercana y sale ya todo parejito, ya las haces como los genes, los parejas, y ya tienes una línea. That's when you have like a family where they all have the same.
Well, they look pretty much the same, and they have pretty much the ability that you breed for. They show a lot of the same ability. There's not up and down, this or that. You know what I mean? And then that's the problem with a lot of crossbreeds. You know, you may have 50 brothers, and half of them may be what you want, or a third, and then the other ain't what. But line breeding sets the gene pool. If you keep the chickens long enough, that you have to set that gene where it's dominant. You know what I
Que
mean?
tienes que ser los genes que estén dominantes para que salgan todos parejos.
And there's ways of doing it. I know people that inbreed and get it done. I know people that line breed and get it done. And that's mainly what I do is line breed. Like I make different lines of cousins and then I interbreed them back together.
Que él le gusta el line breed. Line breed es hacer una línea de, like a tree, right? You bring them bread.
Yeah, you can breed a trio like a rooster to the 2 hens. And then you take offspring out of the 2 hens and you can breed back to the rooster or back to the hen, or you can breed the offspring together off of 1 hen to the other hen.
Right.
Which would still be carrying half of that cock's blood top and bottom.
Okay.
So you carry that cock's blood on the top side and the bottom side. And you can do that as many as 4 times, and then you pretty much got a gene pool set. Where you got that introduced to that one line, either an individual or a certain family. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Que lo bueno que line breeding es agarras sobrinos con tías, primos con primos, y ahí haces tu línea ya parejas. You don't. That's a way to have a line you can have forever, right? I mean,
well, that's the way you try to keep it forever. Nothing lasts forever, but you do most guys keep them for a long time that way. You know what I mean? And you got to be very careful and go slow. It's not an overnight deal, a quick fix thing.
Dice que ocupas para mantener una línea bien, ocupas mucho tiempo y irte despacio. I mean, test everything, right?
Yeah,
you raise something, you test it. You raise something, you test it.
That's correct.
Es criar algo, probarlo, crear algo, probarlo. Es algo lento.
And a lot of times in line breeding, you'll lose, or inbreeding, you'll lose different qualities that you may have to quit, and it won't carry on because you lose your health, you may lose gameness, you may lose conformation.
You might gain it too, right?
Yeah, and that's a good family will pass on most of the good traits.
Dice que una familia buena te va a pasar los puede ser hermano con hermana, pero a veces te salen los genes malos.
Like Peter said, they run the sweater chickens almost.
What?
They almost run the sweater chickens.
Who did?
A lot of people, like you said, down south. They were selling them, buying like you said, $25 and selling them for big money.
Same thing's happening with the.
Huh?
Same thing's happening with the ACOs too.
Now,
Everybody's trying to,
everybody's selling them ACOs. I think Gene Mate's even raising some ACOs. They say, what's his name still got real good one down there in Alabama. What's his name? Mississippi. Wallace, yeah.
But he's sick though.
You're not raising. This old man's sick too. Did you read his book in there?
No, I haven't read it yet.
I don't think I've ever actually read it, to be honest.
You ever read it?
I don't think I ever have actually. Read it all the way through the book. I've go through it.
You never read it?
I never read it page for page.
Well, I read it all the way through a couple times. Ain't got no signal.
I'm gonna turn it back on.
You're not hard trying to get the signal just about anywhere. Not here.
I have better signal around on that every end.
How hot does it get here? December.
About 95.
Real humid though?
Not bad like today. And then a lot of days it's dry.
You know, it wasn't even that humid
The
yesterday.
good thing here is we don't have real super hot. It's like this. I mean, we have about 3 months of cold weather. That's the worst, man. The rest of the year is pretty decent. This is bluegrass ground. This is where they raise the racehorses. Yeah, this is Bluegrass County. Supposed to be something in the ground here that makes them the best.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so we're talking about the brownies. No, what were we talking about?
We were talking about breeding and line breeding and inbreeding.
Right.
And you asked me about, and we were talking about you had to go slow, be very careful about your breeding. Sometimes it carries on and sometimes it don't. I mean, there's a lot of families won't carry on.
Right. A lot of times you do the inbreeding and close inbreeding, it'll ruin them too, right?
Yeah, they are no good no more.
So, we talked about your kelsos. Now, your kelsos are smart, aggressive.
Smart. And aggressive and close.
Yeah.
Smart. Really smart. Smarter than they still.
Really?
Yes, and then in close on the inside, they're aggressive.
Okay.
A lot of feet. I breed all my chickens the same. They're like buzzsaws.
Okay. Okay. What's more important, gameness or cut for you?
Gameness. But you got to have both.
Yeah.
You got to have both. Gameness to me, you can't sell people chickens that quit.
Right.
You know. But you got to try to look for, you know. And gameness, you can't keep a family if they ain't game.
Right.
How you gonna inbreed them and line breed them if they're not game?
Yeah, you're right. You're
You
right.
cannot do it.
You're right.
You can't keep chickens for 30 years that ain't game.
No.
And unless you keep adding new blood, and then pretty soon you have no gene pool. They start breeding everything.
Dice que le pregunto qué es más importante, casta o corte, y me dice que casta, porque si no tienes casta, a la larga va a salir lo corriente del gallo. Vas a tener que estarle metiendo en animales nueva sangre. Lo más importante que para él es la casta. That's a good point, though. I mean,
Yeah, you can't just breed for conformation and cutting ability, Pretty soon something's gonna fall down. You know what I mean?
dice que si vas a crear por bonito y por corte, tarde o temprano se va a colapsar, todo. Ocupas lo principal que sea los gallos, lo huevudo o la casta del animal. That's a good point.
Now, if you're breeding for yourself, just for your own personal use, you might put cutting ability to the top of the head. But that works fine as long as you don't lose the parent stocks. And maybe even the next generation out of that, but you'll not carry them on for a great length of time. I know people do that, and then they got chickens like this, really good one year, and then they about 4 or 5 years, and then you'll see they got a different kind of chicken for 4 or 5 years.
Que si no piensas, si tú...
But their emphasis is on cutting ability, and that's what they like.
Que te quiero más por corte, nomás lo puedes traer 2 generaciones, pero si no tienes eso de casta, se va a colapsar tu familia. That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
Who's gonna buy them after a while?
Yeah.
Uh,
So your sweaters, we were talking about earlier today. If somebody wanted to buy a lot from you and keep going with a lot, what would you recommend?
What, to keep a line going?
Yes, sir.
Well, they need at least a couple different trios. 2 trios would probably do it if they handle their breeding program right.
Dice que le digo que cuánto se le ocupaba para que una persona siga la línea de los sueros de él. Dice que mínimo dos tríos para. And then
you can do it like a lot of people do in Mexico. Like I said, I know people breed 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 roosters, and every 4 or 5 years they're calling me wanting to infuse the bloodlines again to prep them back up, or some of them even come every year and they breed to the pullets that they raise, the offspring they had the year before.
Que mucha gente viene con él cada año, cada 3 o 4 años para agarrar otro cemental para otra vez infusiar la sangre a su que compraron años antes.
But the best way to do it is start your own family. Keep good records.
Que lo mejor es tener buenos récords de tu familia.
Keep good records and breed exactly what you like. You know, everybody is called breeding to what your eye desires. In other words, what one man sees in a chicken, another man may not agree 100% he likes.
Right, of course.
If we all had the same eye, we'd all have wives would look the same.
Sí, que cada quien cría como, como le guste más. Si todos criamos iguales, pues todos tenemos los mismos animales. That's a good point too.
Yeah, so you have to breed to what your mind's eye, what pleases you. And then you breed to that style and you set the genes to that style.
Que uno debe crear al estilo que uno quiere y ya te enfocas en los genes que te dan ese estilo para ti. But game has got to be the first number one, right?
It is for me, but it don't have to be for people that are just breeding for their own personal use, because their emphasis is on winning, not keeping a line of chickens for 30
Que hay
years.
gente que se enfocan en ganar y lo hacen por una generación, 2 generaciones, pero ya no funciona porque no empezaron con lo primero, que lo principal, que es la casta. So we talked about your sweaters, your calzos, your Blake Grays or Grays. They're
Mostly sweater blood with gray blood in them.
and you made those 14 years ago, right?
Yes.
Tiene una línea de Blake Grace que son giros con sueros que hace 14 años lo hicieron juntos.
We got the darker sweater, which carry more of that old 5K blood of that Stuart yellow leg blood in it.
Tiene
We
los,
got the lemons, and then we got light red ones, and then golden colored ones. But they're all cousins.
the
to
golden and
each
the cotton candy are the same thing.
other. Same thing.
Tiene los golden color.
Not necessarily same thing, but the same lines bred for a different.
Tiene los golden, tienen los cotton candy, tienen los golden cotton candy, los 5000
5K.
que tienen
They're all
más de la
5K.
sangre del el gallo original era de Carol, que era mitad yellow leg hatch y mitad sweater. That was the yellow hatch
Now
sweater.
the original cock was.
Right. And then your toppies come from Junior.
Yes.
También
Blake, they gave him to Blake.
oh, he gave it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they give you the one hand, right?
Yeah.
He had the
back in the
grade,
day.
and Junior gave him the toppies to Blake when he was about, what,
I was 10,
10 years old?
Wow.
9 years ago.
No, longer than
Yeah, I
that.
was 9 years, 10 years old, Dad.
Well, it wasn't 14. Yeah,
Cuando
9
tenía 10 años
years
Junior
You
Bell le
found the
regaló
grace for about
old. We started the grade for
una
14
gallina
years ago when he was
a
little.
Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then later on I give you a cock.
Yeah.
Ya
The
después
next
le dio un gallo topi. You had Albany before too?
Yeah.
You don't have any more?
The darker 5K blood has Albany blood in it.
But you don't have it set as a family?
No,
Que ya no
not anymore.
No. You didn't like it?
Yeah, I liked them. They were just a little slower than I like, and a little bit come a little shorter.
Que tenían los Albany, pero eran más lentos y un poquito más chaparrones como a él le gustan. Ya no los tiene. Okay, let's see. So, you haven't had any blood since 89, right?
No.
Que le pregunté que si no ha metido sangre y dice que desde el 89 no mete sangre. And that's because you said it as different families from the beginning, right?
Set them as different lines. Yes.
So if somebody bought 3 trios from you, right, or 2 trios from you, they set it apart as 2 lines and then they breed back to.
Yes, they can go like, you can go to each female and each male, and then that line to the other line, you're looking at 8 different lines you can make out 2 trios.
Que de 2 trios pueden hacer 8 líneas.
Don't mean you have to keep them all. Sometimes them lines fail. Well, you got to get rid of them, but you don't. To me, it's
You're
like
gonna hedge the
it's
range.
like a tree over there. You can cut one limb off, and the tree will survive. If you have to cut the whole tree down, then you're out of business.
Right, of course.
So you make different lines. If you have to dispose of one line that didn't meet your satisfaction, that don't mean the other 4 lines have a good chance of doing what you want. You
Right.
know what I mean? So,
Dice que
and
es como un árbol, tú puedes quitar o sea, si tú tienes una línea, si tú ves que viene con él o con otro criador, compra 2, 3 tríos y haces 8 líneas diferentes. Si una no te funciona, pues quítala y vas con la otra. I mean, you gotta call hard, right? I mean, that's,
and really hard.
yeah,
I call harder than you can believe.
that's good. Now, here's an interesting question. When you make a cross, do you breed power to speed or?
I'm not a good crossbreeder, so you're asking the wrong man about that.
Ya te poniendo que cuando él cruza para.
I think there's
Okay.
no way, no set formula. It's not like cooking.
Dice que no hay una fórmula.
You have to try both ways and see which is the best for you. The
It could be.
bloodlines
It could
that
be.
you're
It
using.
could be
Either
power
way.
with power or
Either way,
speed with
there's
speed.
no set way. There's no set formula for breeding these chickens.
Le pregunto que cómo se deben cruzar. Dice que no hay una fórmula que tienen que carnarle y hacerle. So there's no. I mean, there's nothing that you can say.
No, there's no. I mean, I could tell you this or that, but it'd be windy, depending on what you want to do. But a lot of the old timers used to breed. If you want more speed, breed from the speed from the hen side.
Que los viejitos cuando criaban para rapidez, pues la gallina era la rápida y.
But that was back when they had speed chickens and power chickens. They weren't no chickens in the middle like they are today.
Now it's blended.
Yeah, today the chickens are completely different than they was 40 years ago.
Que antes
50.
había rápido y había lento y ahorita ya todos están en el medio. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
the old timers used to think, well, we got roundheads for speed and smart, and hatch ritters to keep them in the pit. The roundheads weren't that game, but the hatch ritters were real game. Didn't have no cut to them, so they made a blend. For their battle
Que
chickens.
antes
But
tenías los roundheads que eran rápidos y luego tenías los hatch que eran lentos y de casta y los cruzaban, pero ya, I mean, right,
most chickens
now you have
now,
hatch stars
Yeah.
faster than sweaters.
yeah, you got hatch chickens now that are fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got gray chickens and you got Kelso chickens and they all got speed and power.
Well, your customers, what have they done best with the crosses? De pronto que sus clientes.
I don't know. I don't sell crosses much. I mean, we sell a lot of Blake Gray. We don't do a lot of crossing, I'm telling you. The Toppy blood, I don't know if you can call that a cross or not, but we've had about 10 years now setting them in and out. We're trying to find the right blend on them to set them as a family. We haven't really set those as a solid family yet because we ain't got the right blend yet.
Que los topis con
But
suero
they are-
los
but they are
quieres hacer
game.
familia, pero todavía no lo he hecho todavía. How many years does it take to make a family?
Well, we've been messing with them for about 10 years, but only seriously for
Depends on
about the
how
last
picky you
5
are.
or 6 years, you know.
Who's pickier, you, Blake, or Papa?
Who's more pickier, me or you? Like the yin yang thing. We kind of we're
We're
picky
both
about
picky.
different things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we usually work together on some things like that. We point out things that each other miss or like about one.
Creo que quieres más más detallista, los dos son detallistas. Let's go back to the same question though. You recommend people breeding them half and half?
I believe you got to try out with a half and half, but the
Quarter and three-quarter?
Three-quarter, you have to try it either way. There's no set answer. You have to find that out for yourself. Most people for years and years have said the best chickens for crossing is three-way crosses. Half, quarter, quarter. And that's always been, that's a hybrid. It's usually stronger, it's usually healthier.
Que cuando creas un gallo mitad, cuarto y cuarto, muchas veces es más fuerte y es más sano porque es un híbrido. But sometimes it doesn't click, right? I mean, sometimes it won't click, you know?
No, sometimes it's,
A veces
it's
no.
like cooking. Sometimes you make a good batch, sometimes you don't.
Que es como cocinar, o sea, a veces sale bien,
You
a
make
veces
a
sale
good
mal.
dinner and food, and
No
sometimes
hay una fórmula, there's no set
No
formula
set
where
formula.
it's going to work 100% with this.
No, if it was, I'd be a genius. Me and you both would go to Las Vegas. We wouldn't be messing with chickens.
Dice que si fuera cierto eso que esta línea con esta línea funciona, pues estuviéramos ricos todos, yo y Dink ahorita.
We would never lose one.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And there are a lot of good breeders, and there's a lot of good chicken men in the USA, Mexico. A lot of good breeders, a lot of good chicken men. Because they fight more chickens than anybody anymore. Yeah. We used to here. They used to didn't put quite as much emphasis on game as cutting ability.
In Mexico.
Yeah, I say they like cutting is probably the number one emphasis there. You know what I mean? Big game.
Que lo que ve con los criadores mexicanos que se enfoca más en el corte que en la casta. That's bad. That way,
It's not bad because
You guys
most
have
of the
that time
people
limit.
are emphasis on
Time
winning. Most of their emphasis is on winning, and most of them, you know what I mean?
But you can't say it as a family though.
It's hard.
Because estamos discutiendo que porque dice que muchos criadores mexicanos crían al corte y no a la casta. Y le digo a él que pues que más le va a durar ese corte nomás unos cuantos años. They're gonna have to come back. Well, for you it's good because they have to come back every year, get some new brood stock.
Well, not every year, but
Dink,
I mean, not me, but there's a lot of good breeders in the USA that have good chickens. They breed them. You know what I mean?
Past breeders? Who do you look up to? Le pregunto que
Oh, they were several of them. There's good ones right now. They was.
Who'd you look
of
at
course,
right now?
They were Jumper, and they was Cecil Davis, and they were Walter Kelso, and
criadores que
P.W. Law, and they were, of course, the Hatch. You know, Mr. Hatch. Of course, he wasn't a great winner. And they were Red Richardson. They was Billy Rubel.
criadores que él le gustaban. How about right now?
They were the first ones that come in with the power cops and the blends. The Hatch Clarets with a blend was probably the number one combate chicken in the world at one time.
Que los hash class era muy popular en ese tiempo. How about present breeders? Who do you think is
Oh,
good
there's
breeders?
a lot of good breeders. There's a lot of them. I mean, you name them.
Criadores ahorita en el tiempo ahorita.
I think there's a lot of them. I really do. I mean, I'm being honest with you.
Name 3.
Oh, 3 easy. There's 3 easy. 3 real fast. You want me to give you 3 fast names? Of course, there's Jean Battier, there's Junior Bell,
Junior Bell.
and there's several good breeders. I mean, that I even know here in Kentucky. You know what I
Hay
mean?
muchos criadores buenos ahorita.
And then there's several good breeders in Kentucky. They're all over the USA, Louisiana. But you know, being a good breeder, the part of it is a lot of good breeders won't sell their number 1 stock.
Yeah.
They won't part with it. You know what I
Dice
mean?
que muchos criadores no van a vender sus números, sus lotes número 1.
And then that's what makes chickens fall down, you know, a little bit. But Jeff Hudsmith, you mentioned, he's been a good breeder for years.
Yeah, Jeff's a good breeder.
Yeah, he's been a good breeder for years. And I mean, you name just there's a ton of them in the USA. Believe me, and people don't even know a lot of them names. They fight for themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't get the advertisement or the notoriety that they should get because they don't breed big. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're smaller breeders, and they're everywhere. They're in California.
Que hay muchos criadores buenos, muchos criadores buenos. But this, I mean, I got a big problem with this, and I say it almost in every interview. You got people in Mexico who got 20 goddamn breeds. I mean, let's say Toppies are in style, they buy Toppies, and they sell pure Toppies. You got Asios in style, they sell Asios, Japs, you know, Blues. Le digo que yo tengo mucho problema con los creadores de México que tienen 20 líneas, que uno está de popular y la compran y lo venden como pure, como puro. That's not a breeder, I mean, that's a chicken peddler. I mean,
I wouldn't call him a chicken peddler, but he's a chicken hobbyist anyway.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Collector.
And most of those guys are into selling too, you know.
Well,
What's selling?
But you're into selling too, but you only have 4 or 5 lines.
Yes, no.
I mean, at the end of the day,
I keep
want to
mine
sell.
as a family, though. I'm not interested in just breeding them and changing bloodlines in 5 years from now. You know
Que
what I mean?
él los tiene como familia, por eso él puede vender nomás 5 líneas. But at the end of the day is, you know,
Mine don't suit me 100%. I'll be honest with you. Mine don't suit me 100%.
but you try to improve every year though.
Yeah, I try to improve them every year, but I love what I got, and I'm not going to discard them for something else.
Dice-
Or flash in the pan.
Dice que él también hay cosas que no le gustan de él, pero cada año quiere mejorarlo. Compañeros, quiero avisarle, bueno, esto yo lo hago porque me gusta hacerlo y para ayudar a la gente nueva que está en el deporte. Cuando yo vengo aquí a hacer una entrevista con Dink o con Blake, con otra persona, genera costos. Yo tengo que pagar hotel, aeropuerto, avión, carro de renta. Apóyame comprándome docenas de navajas. Ahorita tengo una especial. En la compra de 2 docenas regalo una botana. También tenemos una rifa, compañeros. Estamos rifando 13 navajas, docenas, 5 botanas, 2 cubiertas por 750 pesos o $40. La rifa se va a hacer el sábado. Apóyame por favor con esto porque sí genera muchos gastos esto. Let's see. When it was legal, what was the best cross you ever fought before?
The best? When it was legal. I probably sweater Kelso was really good. And the Kelso was we're talking about gav or short knife?
Short knife.
Short knife?
Yes.
Sweater Kelso.
Le pregunto que cuál fue, cuando era legal, ¿cuál fue mejor cruza? Dijo que Sweater Kelso. Half and half?
No, they could have been anyway, 5/8 and 3/8, and the other one was the sweater gray, the Blake gray.
Bruce Talk, up to what years? How many years do you use Bruce Talk for?
I keep mine too long. Sometimes I keep
Because some
it
people you
at 4.
only use it 5 years, right?
I give them 4 or 5 years, and sometimes I bred some of them as 8 years old because I didn't want to lose that line. And then, but my hens are like 5, 6 years old now, and they're getting too old. I need to switch them out for
Que dice que
myself this
los
year.
gallos máximo 5, 6, 4 años, 5 años los usa, pero que ya es muchos años, las gallinas también 5, 6 años, ya es mucho. So, perfect age for breeding? What would be?
Probably 2, 3 year old.
Que para él lo mejor es 2, 3 años.
Pullets, 2 and 3 year old. From pullet, Boya, the 2 year old gallina, the Trish gallina, 3 year old gallina.
So 2, 3 years?
Yeah.
Stag same way?
4. Yeah, I breed
for
stags. Yeah, broodcocks can go up to 5 years.
Que los gallos hasta 5 años, pero...
They've been in good health, you know.
Okay.
Hens are good up to about 4 or 5 years old. I'm breeding them now because I'm trying to set lines, but see, here's the problem. My pullets sometimes don't look as pretty to me as their mama, their brood hens, because in Louisiana, most of my brood hens were raised in Louisiana.
Right.
And we bred bigger brood cocks, taller, 5.5 pounds.
Because you had children or what?
Well, no, because the chickens didn't get as big there. Here in Kentucky, if you breed a rooster much over 5 pounds, you're liable to have shakes. It's something to do with this ground.
Dice que
This bluegrass ground.
Less heat, I think.
Que aquí los gallos son más grandes de peso, más taller too. Taller?
It's not hotter here.
But taller. They come up taller.
Yeah, because they get big. They get bigger bone and bigger chickens.
Healthier.
Yes, I guess.
Dice que aquí está creando mejor que en Luisiana, que viene más de grandes pesos, pero también tiene que tener mucho cuidado porque se le hacen capotes.
And so you got to pick, like you seen that one little tall rooster, you got to pick smaller tall ones.
Yeah.
Because I've had problems with shakes. They've been years I've killed maybe 30 shakes while we've been here.
Wow.
Or 40, didn't even
Sell them.
I didn't even think about selling them. I could put them in the pen. I'm telling you the truth, and I need
If
my
you need
pen.
to sell anything, let me know. I'm an expert salesman. I can sell anything. I can sell
had
ice
some big
Eskimos.
topics. I had topics
Yeah,
that back that wide and tall, and they were half partly topic, and and the rooster weighed a little over 5 pounds, but we had to.
Yeah.
I bet we had to kill 30 of them.
As many since we first started breeding.
They were too big.
We almost had that.
Now we're breeding the topics down small.
Like
the
you seen that
roosters.
little one up there, little.
What do you think
Que ya
about
están quedando ya más chiquitos porque estaban muy grandes en un tiempo.
the topics have a chance to throw big too.
Yeah, they do come big though.
Think advice you would give to people in Mexico right now. We're being attacked by the animal activists in Mexico too. It's out loud in Veracruz right now.
It's what?
Out loud.
You're kidding me.
No, they're fucking with us.
The animal activists in Veracruz,
Veracruz right now it's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, they're trying to fight it.
And they stopped they stopped the bullfights and everything.
They're trying to. Coahuila, same thing. They got a law coming up that they might.
I'll tell you one better thing you gotta do. You gotta get politicians that will work for you.
Dice que, I mean, it happened here in the States, you know.
They shutted everybody down, state after state after state.
Yeah.
And then the feds come in, and then it became federal, like federal law, United States law. And they can do that, they make a law and all, you make it.
Le estoy hablando que México ya, en Veracruz ya es legal, Coahuila también ya va para allá. Y me dice que tenemos que tener a los políticos al lado de nosotros, porque aquí en Estados Unidos, estado por estado estuvieron quitando las peleas y luego federal.
They need to organize voters. The most powerful thing you got is you get a list of voters. You go up there and you slap that table down, you say, here is 1,000 names of people that will vote for you. Or 10,000, or whatever in that area, you know what I mean? And that man will pay attention to you. If you say, I got to talk to these people, we can get them all out to vote for you.
Que lo más importante son los
You gotta
votadores.
and that man will work for you because he wants those votes.
Que lo más importante es la lista de votadores porque vas con un político y le dices que aquí hay 10,000 personas que van a votar por ti si acepta los gallos.
The Humane Society did. They got a list of all their members and phone numbers
Yeah.
of everywhere. They go up there and they go to my governor, a guy running for governor, and say, look, here is 50,000 or 100,000 people on our list that live in that state. Every one of them will vote against you if we send them a text telling them you allow cockfighting or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's strong.
That's the kind of
That's what people. That's what gets their attention. You know what I mean?
Que aquí en Estados Unidos los activistas tienen una lista de 50,000 personas que decían los políticos, ¿sabes qué?
You have all that business on it, right?
Aquí está una
Put it in
lista de
mainstream.
50,000 personas que no
Work too
quieren
much, they
gallos.
can't take it away.
Vas a votar por. But see, the Philippines, they
The
have.
politicians are in though.
Yeah, but it's not set in the Constitution though. Way from now, from 30, 40 years ago. I mean, nobody thought this would happen in Mexico.
No, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you
I
got.
can't believe it. That's
This is
why
like
they
they're
did
just-
it though. They called the
They're
people
making money
running
off
those
of the card.
officials in Jalisco, wherever, and they tell them, "Say, look, we have this many members," and they send them a whole list of them.
El consejo que da Dink para los mexicanos es que hacemos una lista de votadores para dárselos a los políticos. ¿Sabes qué? Somos 1 millón de galleros aquí en México, votamos y vamos a votar por políticos que nos apoyen nuestra causa. Dink, your greatest victory in life.
My family and my chickens and my
Your
life.
family is.
My family, my chickens, and my life. That was my greatest victory to me.
Yeah.
I'm sitting right here. I came from nothing.
$1 a day.
$1 a day. Riding a bicycle.
I told you, Blake, when we were at the poetry show the other day, I first met you there. The poetry show was over and you got a bag and you started picking up the trash around the
Around the
trailer.
building.
And that shows a lot about you. I mean, nobody asked you to do it. You just, le digo que cuando conocí a Blake,
Knew it
estábamos
had to be
en un
done.
So
show,
that had to be done.
y agarró una bolsa de basura y empezó a recoger la basura alrededor de la trailer. This is a lot about you. If you had to do anything different, Dink, would you do something different?
I couldn't think of anything, to be honest with you.
No.
I've been lucky in life. I'll be honest. I've
Kept
been
those
really
little chickens
lucky.
forever ago, Dad.
Lucky or hard work?
I've been lucky and I've worked hard and I've tried to be honest with everybody to the best way I can.
Dice que para él,
And you know, sometimes the good Lord smiles on you and sometimes Lady Luck smiles on you, you know, and I've been fortunate in life.
dice que lo más importante para él es la familia de sus gallos, que pues has tratado de ser honesto, y por eso la vida la ha pagado bien, la verdad. Advice to a beginner. Consejos para un principiante.
Watch this video, I guess.
Yeah, vean este
And
video.
every video you put out from every breeder. 'Cause you're
Yeah,
gonna learn
pues.
something from everybody.
Que puede aprender uno de cualquier cosa. I had an article. I'm not going to mention any names, but I talked to a couple breeders here in the States, and when it was legal, do you think it's morally wrong to buy a fight or throw a fight back then?
I never did believe in that, I'll be honest with you.
Because I know guys who, I mean, they
I
say
swear,
they have no problem with it.
I
I got a problem with it.
I got a problem with it too. I don't like it.
do it.
And I didn't
Everyone's
do
gonna
it.
cheat and like not make it fair. Why do it then?
You know, if I could outpit the man, handle him, I would.
You-
Within the rules. I ain't no day, you know, I give my rooster the best advantage I could, but I never bought and I never sold fights.
Y le pregunto que ha hablado
And I don't, and I mean, I don't think much of it. You know what I mean?
Le digo que para mí es malo comprar una pelea o vender una pelea, pero he hablado con muchos criadores aquí en Estados Unidos que lo hacían y lo miraban bien. Él dice que para él no es algo bueno.
But you know, on the other hand, you got to think, like we was talking about, people breed strictly for cutting ability. It's for their own personal use and their own, it's the way they make their money, and that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? They're not what you call true breeders or anything like that. They're good chicken people, but it's a business to them. Any way they can make money at it.
Que la gente que cría para corte no son galleros para él, porque no agarran una familia por muchos años. Van cambiando su familia.
A lot of them are good chicken men, but they're not.
They're not breeders.
Yeah,
Son
I wouldn't
galleros,
call
pero no
them
son
true chicken
criaderos.
men, but they're outstanding chicken men, and they're doing it as a business. They're
Hacen
doing
como
it
negocio.
strictly, you know, they're doing it strictly gambling and fighting, strictly and.
But
Laying around is strictly
you're a
business.
businessman. And
But my business comes through hard work, and a lot of them don't like to work that hard.
que mucha gente no gusta trabajar
I'll
por
be honest with you. My hands are callous. You see them, and I'm 70 years old, and I work 7 days a week, and I work hard.
que
Not because I have to, because I love what I'm doing, and I'm thankful I get up every day and got the strength to do it.
que tiene 70 años y
And that
que
is the
trabaja
truth.
todos los días, 7 días a la semana, trabaja duro porque le gusta, no porque tiene que hacerlo. We're going to do a couple questions here from the people. Sí. Los tres valen 1,350. 1350. 675 for a cock, right?
Stag.
For stag. 675 por pollo, 375 por una gallina. ¿Por cuál línea?
Boy, I have not gallinas or
Polla. What's your game is line?
they're all game.
Que todos son de casta.
I don't have anything that is the game is line.
Dandy Files online. Mike Mitchell too.
Who?
Dandy File. You know
Who's that?
Dandy from California? Dandy?
I don't know.
They're pretty good breeders.
Huh?
They're pretty good breeders.
And who else?
Dandy and Mike Mitchell.
Mike Mitchell sounds familiar to me.
My buddy Mario says hi from New Mexico. And so they're asking Blake, your Blake rays are made from Clements and
Yep. Clemens and Sweater.
how'd you say that as a family?
By breeding cousins to cousins and half brother and sister to each other.
Que cómo hicieron
Kept them that
esa,
way so long that they became
que,
it's like you used to have a pure, just pure hair.
que lo que usaron primos con primos, sobrinos con tías y así hicieron la línea de los Blake rays, Hilo con Sweater. When they cross that one line you said were really good, the Kelso sweaters, was it the sweater dad or
Which one?
sweater cock or Kelso hens? All the way around.
They were different combinations of it. They were both ways,
Que
back and forth.
Kelso
Some of them were,
porque
some
no
of them
les funciona
were
bien.
5/8, 3/8. Some of them were 5/8 sweater and 3/8 Kelso. And then the combination. And then, you know, but it just, there wasn't no set thing, you know what I mean? Like we were talking about, you got to try it every direction.
Que no hay nada escrito en el papel, tiene que uno escalarlo si funciona hembra con macho o macho con hembra. ¿You know Jesse Horta?
Yeah, no, just,
¿Qué friend of yours?
yeah.
Sí, que sí conozco a Jesse Horta, que es un amigo de él. Puedes cruzar hermanos con hermanas.
He's from California. He's a good breeder too.
Que es buen criador. You never crossed brothers and sisters?
No.
How come? Do you have enough? You have enough
I had
lines?
enough lines. I just didn't have brother and sister. They
Que
may be out of the same rooster, and if I want to introduce the bloodlines where I got that rooster, he was a strong producer, producing good abilities. I put him top and bottom. I put him on both sides.
que ha cruzado medios hermanos, pero hermanos
Or
no, que,
pull it, or a hen. You put them on both sides.
que no lo ocupa hacer porque tiene varias líneas para donde trae y cruzar.
Did you say Chuck Candy? He used to be from Missouri, Oklahoma. The blue man. So if I'm about a trio, one trio could just sit as a family, or they have to buy two trios? No, they can buy one trio. You can buy one rooster, one hen if you got the time
If
to
you already
do
have
it.
some
You don't
foundation,
you
your
don't
own
have to have
some
a
kind.
big starter out. A small breeder can take one rooster and one pullet, and there's no guarantee that that combination will kick like that. But you can breed him to the hens, the families that you have that you really like, and then start breeding them
Que
in
puede
and
entrar con un
out.
gallo y una gallina, pero
Yeah.
tiene paciencia, take
No.
patience, right? Patience.
Yeah, and then you can breed them to the families that you already have that you know or what you want, and then you can start and.
Esos hijos los puedes echar con una u otra fibra que te tenga que te gusta también.
Yeah, you know, but you gotta know why are you buying him? Do you want to add speed and gameness? Do you want to add conformation and overall beauty? But if you're doing that, you still want to make sure they're game.
Que
No matter what you do.
aunque crees por bonito y
Robin,
por hartos, lo básico es la casta.
The super hardest thing to find in breeding to me is good game chickens that can really outstanding cutters.
Que lo más
As
duro,
a combination, they don't seem to run together.
que lo más duro que conseguir es un gallo que sea cortador y que también al mismo tiempo sea con casta. There are some out there, though.
Oh, there's them out there, yeah.
How about papa to daughter?
I do that occasionally, but not real strongly.
¿Qué
I
se
like
hace
the cousin to
papá
cousin
con
better.
que le gusta más? That way they're not too inbred, right?
Yes.
Que le gusta más prima con primos.
Keep the same gene pool.
Muchas gracias, doña Casal. Compañeros, recuerden, esto yo lo hago por gusto, para ayudarlos a ustedes. Por favor, apóyenme. Tengo una especial, 2 docenas. Regalo una botana para niños, lo que sea, lo normal. También tengo una rifa ahorita. Por favor, apóyenme con la rifa. Vale $40 o 750 pesos la rifa. Todos están así.
Give Kevin a plug. He's a good breeder too.
What?
My son, I forgot to give him a plug. He's a good breeder too.
Yeah.
My son Kevin, he is.
También este señor Kevin, su hijo en Arkansas también tiene buenos animales. He's
know
got
what?
pure topics, right?
Yeah, you know, when you ask people that question, it's kind of embarrassing because there are a lot of good breeders. A lot of them. Oscar Aiken, I can go down the list. I mean, they may not all be perfect individual people, but they're good